Let's go.
All right, what's going on, party people? Y'all know who it is. This is Pop Talk. Your man, Professor Nils. I'm signing back on with Coach Dave.
What's up, you?
The Casual Rand.
What up, though?
And Boston Jared.
What up?
And we are the Pundits of Pugilism. Make sure that you like and subscribe. We're going to end up tonight's segment talking about your man, Jaron Boots Ennis, who is fighting this weekend. I know the hardcore boxing fans knew this, but this was a rescheduled fight.
Not all of it. Nah, it wasn't rescheduled. You keep saying that.
I mean, I'm saying rescheduled, like his opponent. It wasn't rescheduled. So his opponent was initially Cody Crowley, and then they had to get in a substitute of David Avanesyan in that sense. So it wasn't the original. So the reason I say that is because if you went to the first press conference, then you're gonna get a different show in there. But it wasn't, and you are right with that correction. It wasn't rescheduled because they did keep the same date. But I'm gonna be honest, man. I feel that this is the first hometown fight, and I think this is the first fight under Matchroom that he's had, and I think they dropped the ball. For one thing, if you saw that press conference that they had, it was almost embarrassing. Like Crowley called it out. He was like, "Man, I thought this was your city." He was like, "There's literally 10 people in the crowd." It was more than 10 people.
Called him out, or Avanesyan did?
What's that?
Called him out. Crowley or Avanesyan?
Crowley called him out.
That's hilarious because Crowley ducked out of the fight. Crowley poked himself in the eye before he went to go see the doctor, and got a doctor's note to duck the fight. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Cody Crowley poked himself in the eye the night before he saw the doctor and got out to fight because he didn't want to get his ass whipped for the amount of money they was giving him. That's what I heard, and I got it on pretty good authority that there ain't nothing wrong with Cody Crowley's eye.
Oh, well, and that's something, but I think it might have to do a little bit more than that. If you got any kind of background on Cody Crowley, is like, you know, that he's struggled a little bit with some kind of mental health issues. In fact, he's been inactive. I take that back. So he did come back and fight Abel Ramos in March of 23. But he had some time where he was pretty inactive, and he talked about some kind of mental health struggles that he did. And I'm thinking that maybe this step up in competition and the event might have got to him a little bit. But that's neither here or there. I still think that this is really going to kind of struggle, and this is a bit of a dilemma that we have with Jaron Ennis, because in the earlier segment we talked about Shakur Stevenson and then his lack of a very entertaining boxing style, and we do not have this when it comes to Jaron Ennis. This is somebody.
But where are all the fans? Where are all the fans?
I don't know. I mean, but like, let's discuss this.
Where are all these Philly niggas at? Where are all these Philly guys at with their long beards and their fucking dirt bikes and shit like that, and they scrapple sandwiches?
Well, I know somebody that came out.
You said what?
That came out for it. That was
Gilly and Willie.
Your boy Gilly the Kid. He came.
Oh, Gilly, good. Gilly was the highlight of that.
But that was about
press conference.
Yeah.
No boxing fans in Philly, man. That's crazy. I thought Philly was boxing headquarters, man. North Philly, the Badlands, boxing headquarters.
It's
nothing. These guys are all at home combing their beards out, combing their sunners.
It is. But I mean, why is that? How come, like for example, if this was how Tank has been able to kind of resonate and endear himself to the DMV area, like he brings,
because he inherited a fan base, Doc. Tank's a bad example.
He had an inherited fan base from who?
From Floyd.
How did he inherit Floyd's fan base?
From being on all of Floyd's undercards.
Man, look, we stand on Boots or what? But I look, man.
Go ahead, tell us
No,
about
but yeah,
Boots
go ahead.
because
But
we just
what I was just trying to say is that, like, how come, like, Tank was able to kind of endear himself to, well, but Boston says it's because of riding on Floyd's coattail. I would disagree a little bit, but how come somebody with Boots in his fighting style, he has enough charisma. He's not the most, charismatic person out there, but he has enough. But how come he hasn't been able to endear himself to the general boxing public like a Ryan Garcia? Coach.
ain't no boxing fans in Philly. Oh, go ahead, coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it could be a whole variety of things, man. It could be, what solid big names is he getting? The social media stuff. I mean, I don't think he prostituting himself out there as much as, Ryan Garcia and Jake Paul be doing, and God bless them. I mean, they made their money, but I just don't think that Boots is, and I just think man, the more publicity you get out there, the more fights that he get with some big serious name jokers, whoever can man up and fight this guy. I think it'll happen, man. And I'll say my thoughts about this weekend. Once we come back around and actually talk about the fight.
All right. Go ahead. We'll go back to you, Boston. So kind of dwell on your point. So you think that if he would have had some type of a cosign or would have been on people's undercard? Because I mean,
if he was
on some undercards.
If he was from Dallas, this nigga would be huge. If he was from Dallas, this guy would be huge. Look at all them guys that got behind Errol Spence, man. I don't know how to I don't know how to explain it except to say that there's no boxing fans in Philly. These guys are all into some other shit. And he's not Puerto Rican or Mexican. So you can't use that. So it's really like for a lot of these black fights. That's why you see Shakur Stevenson running around with a fucking Puerto Rican flag wrapped around his head, because he needs that promotional gimmick to try to draw that crowd in. Boots don't have that. There's no boxing fans in Philly. And that's what his problem is, because he's got like you said, Cam. He is like, if you look at how Shakur Stevenson fight, you look at how Boots fight. You're talking about complete opposite sides of the spectrum in terms of entertainment value, right? So
diametrically opposed.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, he's from the wrong place. He's the wrong race, the wrong ethnicity, and he came up in the wrong city.
But he's from the place that
boxing headquarters.
Where
I know.
Bernard Hopkins came from.
Boxing headquarters. Nobody watched, but nobody watching Bernard Hopkins. But nobody watched Bernard. If this was 1960, he'd be huge, man. He'd be the hottest thing spoken, because that in that era, Philly really was boxing headquarters. But if this kid was from a different major metropolitan city, I use Dallas as an example, because Errol Spence was able to cultivate a cult-like following coming from a place like Dallas, Texas. Somehow, some way, he was able to do it, despite not being anywhere near as talented as Boots. Now, Errol was an Olympian, and I think there was something to that. And maybe he was marketed, but I don't live in Dallas, Fort Worth, so maybe he was marketed different down there. But other than that, how do you explain the fan base that Errol had, compare and contrast that with the fan base that this kid is non-existent? He's a much better fighter than Spence. Much, much better fighter. He's a better fighter than Berlanga. He's a better fighter than Munguia, right? But yet these guys all have a more solid fan base than Boots. Well, he's been on Tank undercards, right? Up here in DC.
He has. Yeah.
Like, I mean, Meat Mills comes to watch Tank. Where's Meat Mills at?
Spence, he got it from the ground up. You got to remember, Spence went over to England and beat and stopped one of their champions in Kell Brook and stuff like that. So he was like, he went through the he wasn't handed anything. Like Errol.
That's a good point. I don't want to imply that, and that is a good point. I would argue that Errol had cultivated had more of a fan base. Yes,
Exactly.
I think
He had
he
a
had
fan
more of
base
a fan
before he
base
went.
before that than
Really?
Boots.
So
What do we?
I mean,
Boots has got
he-
like 30-something fights, doesn't he? He's
hold,
in his
hold on,
30s,
but
right?
it's still. I think it's his handlers' fault more than Boots' fault, man. He's not consistent. Like, this is his first fight, and we're already in July, and this is the first time we've seen him all year. Last year in 23, he did have 2 fights, but in 22 he only had 1 fight. So you gotta put your name, you gotta put your face out, and if you're not getting big fights, you need to be consistent. At least knock out bums 3 times a year, at least 2 times a year. If you knock out bums, your name's still in, you know what I'm saying, people's mouths. But if you go away for a whole year and then you come back and you fight Avanesyan, look at his last 5: Avanesyan, Villa, Chakachuchu, Clayton, Delorme. The best fight he had was fucking Lipinets, and that was in 2021.
I would argue that the Villa
Chuck
fight,
Hodgson,
the Villa fight's a good win. The Villa fight's a good win because if my man Rashidi Ellis does what he's supposed to do and he beats Villa, now we're talking about Ellis versus Ennis on somebody's undercard, which would have been an excellent fight for him at that time. So, yeah, but like, look, Dave had made a big deal about it at the time. Going 12 with Chukajan was a big deal. That a lot of people looked at that going 12 with Chukajan had people looking at Ennis kind of crazy, right? Now he rebounded off of that, unlike Shakur, right? He rebounded off of the Chukajan with a tremendous showing against Villa, who's not a world beater, right? But it was a good performance. But to Randy's point, this guy hasn't fought in a year, right? And that's part of it. But again, man, I feel bad for him, man, because he's got all the ingredients, right? I mean, he's as far as the in the ring stuff, he's got it all, man. He's got it all. I know he hasn't fought the highest level guys, man, but
at all.
Maybe he need to relocate. Maybe he need to. I don't know. Maybe he has like a Panamanian uncle or a Puerto Rican grandfather, something like that.
He ain't gonna get respect because you know what I'm saying. Wasn't his belt mailed to him?
Yeah, but a lot of niggas. Tank got his belt emailed to him too, man.
I'm saying he got
Devin got a belt emailed to him.
And 2, he never fought any. He had his just consistency. He's not consistent, and 2, he's not fighting big names. So it's hard to make a person like that into a good fighter. Even fucking Munguia, at least Munguia was consistent when he was beating up them bums all them years. He was still consistent. So
he was.
Ennis is not consistent.
Well, he's had promotional, and we should point this out, right? That Ennis has had his promotional issues. There was some outside the ring stuff because he was a Cameron Duncan guy. Remember, Cameron Duncan passed away, unfortunately, and contractually there were a lot of issues. I don't know what all the minutia was, but I remember Cameron Duncan's his widow had inherited a lot of those contracts, and there was something. And remember that despite being affiliated with Showtime and Espinoza and Al Heyman and PBC, he was never one of Al or Steven. He was always a Showtime guy, but never really one of Al's guys, right? So he always kind of he never got the same treatment as Al's guys got, right? So that contributed to the inconsistency, man. But that really still doesn't account for, like Cam said, like, why nobody know this guy. I had to run around reminding people that Boots was fighting this week. Like, nobody knows this guy's fighting, man. He's in his hometown and nobody knows he's fighting, man. It's really
I mean, but there should be some type of a kind of a social media kind of campaign or advertisement that just
there's nothing. Yeah, he's a boring guy too. That's another thing. Let's face it. He is from that Crawford kind of school of public relations, right? Oh, I get it done in the ring, and I live in the gym, right? And that's not going to endear him. I hate to say this, but it's not going to endear him to Black boxing fans, especially not casual black boxing fans. Remember, Floyd Mayweather had to turn himself into a WWE character to cultivate that fan base, the Black American fan base. He had to become a character. He had to become
I don't
the character.
I thought that got everybody else. I thought that the Black American boxing fan was always in his corner. I think that he got everybody else to watch him, which is all of the casuals and the white and Hispanic fans, when he turned into that kind of villain or the boxing heel in a sense. But I mean, because every boxing fan can, I think they can talk about his fight against Diego Corrales. Like, people remember that. He wasn't a star, a superstar at that time, but people
hardcores remember that fight. Hardcores. 20-year-olds don't remember that fight. There's some 30-year-olds that don't remember that fight.
Oh yeah, 20-year-olds. Yeah, 20-year-olds. You got a 20-year-old was born in 2000 and
right,
2004.
But yeah. Anyway, I mean, Boots. I mean, what do y'all think is next for him? Because that's the other thing with this kid. He is in a no man's land division right now. That 147 went from the hottest division to a division where it's like there ain't shit going on at 147 pounds, man.
That's perfect for him, though. You know what I'm saying? He should try
to
he should be yelling to unify.
I think so. I think you become an undisputed champion. So that's part of legacy right there. You become
against
undisputed champion, and then at the same time, all of those fighters at 140, that is becoming one of the hottest divisions. At some point, they're gonna want to test the waters. They're gonna want to test that, and then you're gonna be that that not gatekeeper, because that's a bad term, but you're gonna be that chasm that's right there. And be like, okay, if you want to get past this, like, I'm going to be this guy that you got to come through if you want any kind of belt at 147. So Lomachenko,
nobody going to be interested.
None of them.
Nobody going to be interested.
If not, then stay your ass down there at 140 or jump to 154.
Vergil, there you go. Vergil Ortiz. If I'm him, after this fight, I'm dropping that belt, and I am camped out outside of Vergil Ortiz's house. I'm following him to the grocery store. I'm following him to church. I'm following him to the gym. I'm calling out Vergil Ortiz. That's the fight. 147 is dead. Go after Vergil Ortiz. Drop that motherfucking belt. Vergil Ortiz is signed to Golden Boy. Golden Boy has the business relationship with Matchroom, with DAZN, excuse me. That is the fight to make. That is, of course, if Vergil Ortiz doesn't get his ass knocked out by this guy Bohachuk, which he might. You heard it here first. He might fuck around and get knocked out by this kid Bohachuk. But if he gets past Bohachuk, right, Vergil Ortiz, Jerron Boots Ennis is the fight to make at 147 pounds as a glorified fucking eliminator, or if somebody vacates, maybe fight for a belt,
you said
something like that.
154, you mean?
154.
I'm sorry, at 154 pounds.
Yeah,
154 pounds.
Yeah, Vergil Ortiz is not making 147. That's too dangerous.
No.
I'm just
He'll
not
fuck around, kill himself.
I'm just not a fan of just giving away, belts, outside.
Yeah. Who's he fight though, Cam? But Cam Randy, who does he fight? Tell me who he fights at 147 that's going to give him the recognition he needs. Where's the big fight?
I mean, I don't see it in Vergil Ortiz. Has Vergil Ortiz ever been a champion?
It don't matter. He's Mexican, and he's a way bigger opponent at 154 pounds than anybody at 147 pounds. That's a much bigger fight for Jerron.
Whatever. He's only 27 years old. Become in a year, you could become the undisputed champion. I mean, that's something. There's not. We can count on our hand the undisputed champions that we've seen in this decade or whatnot. So that's nothing to sneeze at. Like, become undisputed at 147, and then once you do that, then you can go up to 155. I think there's something to be said about that. I don't think that, because one thing we know that Terrence Crawford is not going to fight you, right? I think.
Well, probably.
Not
probably.
Not at 147, he ain't.
No, not at 147, exactly. Not at 147.
He's not going to fight him at all. Terrence Crawford has maybe 3 fights left. You think he's going to fight Boots Ennis?
Probably not. You're right about that. Probably not. But if this kid goes up to 154 and beats what's it called and beats
I mean,
beats Vergil Ortiz, I don't know, man. See, the other problem is that he don't work with PBC anymore, right? So guys like Tim Zhu, Erickson Lubin,
shit, it's like PBC ain't working for PBC anymore.
well, okay, so that's a good point, though, Randy. That's a good point. Maybe you beat Vergil Ortiz. Maybe you can entice a Tim Zhu into a fight.
I mean,
no.
Tim Zhu is something that's I don't mind that. But listen, at 147, he can fight for the WBC against Mario Barrios. That's a good fight.
If they can get Barrios, to come over and for a fight on the zone, but it just doesn't make sense. Like he just left Showtime. He's not affiliated with them guys anymore. He's a Matchroom DAZN guy. So
Maybe,
now he's going to go back over and fight.
I don't know where Barrios is going to go, and then the WBA Stanionis is because like I'm not counting Terrence Crawford, and then the WBO Brian Norman is a champion, which is not a bad fight. I still think he wins though, but like those are some worthy challenges. Like I don't see anything wrong with taking out all those three opponents.
What fight moves the needle? We just spent 30 minutes talking about how nobody knows this kid is fighting.
Against Barrios.
You think Barrios moves the needle more than Vergil Ortiz?
Any fights, brother, gets him a belt.
I think if it's a unification,
who to fight, man. Y'all
only thing like
I know, let Dave, because Dave hasn't talked. We were boring Dave. I'm glad Dave jumped in here. Dave,
look, man,
please.
Look, I'm gonna say this, bro. Then, like I said, I got to get out of here, bro. But look, man, any fight at 147, especially if it's a champion, it's gonna move the needle, and it's gonna do more for this kid, career, purse, marketability. If you fight somebody to where he can daggone, start unifying some of these belts. And this fight, the significance of this fight coming up, whether he gets Crawford or not, is that this is going to be the first common opponent between him and Terrence, that Terrence had. Terrence stopped the boy in six rounds. Boots getting this cat more beat up, more older, more slower, got all this mileage on him. Boots go out here and stop this boy in like 3 rounds. That still gives him talking points. And look at what I did and took Terrence 6 and I got him down in 3, which Boots probably end up seriously stopping and hurting this boy. Whether he gets to fight or not with Terrence, solidify these daggone belts, man. Then if you want to go up to 54, while Terrence is just trying to slide out, we don't know what Terrence going to do, man. You know what I'm saying? Terrence might fight daggone Canelo because the side is going to put that money up and make it happen, and it'd be going to sell off into the sunset. But make them daggone money where you can. Make, you know what I'm saying? Get the legacy and become an undisputed, man. It'd be foolish to tell this joker, drop the belt and then go head on up and then fight somebody else that don't got a belt. When you can fight somebody with a belt and end up, putting more on your that'd be foolish from a promotional sense to me. Clean it, especially when it's clean it up. Just clean this stuff up, bro.
Yeah, clean up the division, make it clear. I agree.
Hold on.
Hold
on. Let me throw a monkey wrench in this, right? I'm gonna side with Boston. So, but listen to this one though. Go up to the IBF, challenge this Bakram dude, and then the second fight can be the winner of Errol Spence Fundora for 3 belts.
Yeah. Now, guys, he just left Showtime. He don't work with them guys. Like he don't have a relationship with them guys.
I think the market, where the market is going to be is either you're fucking with the Saudis or you're going to have to go through the zone and Matchroom. I don't think PBC going to have that strength to be like, yo, y'all, I'm only fucking internal.
But he hasn't fought on any Al Sheikh cards. He don't have the Saudis behind him.
But I'm saying though, if it's for 3 belts, you don't think like any promoter would be like, all right, man, we'll put money up for this.
I think you grab him for. No,
I think I am too. I'm just saying what if, but
you're dealing with one.
he gonna stay at 147 and stay irrelevant for another year.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. I don't care what belt he fight at 147 pounds. Nobody's gonna watch. We all gonna have to remind each other that Boots Ennis is fighting. It don't matter. It could be for undisputed, whatever, undisputed. Nobody's gonna know who he's fighting against. Nobody's gonna care because nobody's gonna know the guy who's fighting against. He's gonna fight Stanionis, one of these guys. Like ain't nobody gonna care, man. We will, right? But the guys that drive the revenue, the casual fan, is not going to care. But that's why I said Vergil Ortiz.
It ain't about them caring. You fighting for loot or legacy. I mean, you get those belts at 147, bro. Then that's gonna open you up for that next division, bro. Up 150. Get the belts, bro.
I agree. You become the undisputed champion. Anybody that tries to come up there. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, all of them, you gonna have to see me. You gonna have to see me.
No, they don't.
I got all the yes, he do. And what you gonna do? Just be fighting fringe people at 147?
Of course. Look at what guys like Canelo Alvarez do. You think Devin Haney comes back and goes to 147? You think he's gonna fight Jaron Ennis? None of them dudes of 140 pounds.
I mean, what's he gonna do though? I mean, he just gonna have showcase fights?
He gonna do anything except fight Jaron Ennis. None of these dudes are going to fight him because they don't have a reason to fight him. So they don't care about the belt.
If he's the undisputed champion, that's the only reason why you have to fight somebody. I mean, besides their drawing power.
In principle, yes. But Haney has come out and said he's already been undisputed. He don't care about the belts. He's going to make up weights and fight who he wants. There's nobody at 140 pounds that can move up, with the exception of maybe Matias.
Well, then, I mean, so let's not even. So why are we even discussing championships then? Like, if belts don't matter, just because he says that doesn't mean that's the thing, man.
Because it's the reality of the sport now. I understand where you're coming from. I'm just telling you, like, Shakur Stevenson got a belt. Dave, you got a bounce?
Yeah, man, I'm about to get up out of here, bro.
All right, peace, Dave.
Okay, my man.
Shakur Stevenson got a belt. He got to beg for fights. Right? I mean, Andrade had a belt for years. Andrade had to beg for fights. Like, it's just not how the sport works anymore. Like, I mean, I don't know.
So if belts are not gonna make, so what can he do then to get people in the ring with him? So that's what I'm saying. It's really nothing. So he might well just fight a big name. Do what?
He needs to fight a name. That's why I said Vergil Ortiz, because Vergil is going to bring those Mexicans. They can do him and Vergil in Texas in one of them big-ass arenas. That's a big fight. Maybe Vergil versus Jaron. It's got to be on somebody's undercard, but that is a fight that's going to have it's going to attract a lot of eyeballs. There's nobody at 147 pounds. Stanionis, maybe Barrios. Now, I agree with you on the Barrios thing. Maybe Barrios has been in there with Tank. That might work. The only problem is Barrios works for the company that he just left. So I don't see why whoever's running PBC now is going to do Jaron Ennis a favor and offer him a Barrios fight. Stanionis, if Terrence Crawford drops that with WBA, and they elevate Stanionis, then a Stanionis fight is a fight I'll watch. I think that's a good fight, but that's not going to be a fight that moves the needle. Neither is Brian Norman. Vergil Ortiz is going to get more eyeballs, man. That's the biggest fight for him right now. If not him, maybe Xander Zayas.
For no belt, I mean, like, why would he?
Belt.
If you were advising him, why would you have him fight for why would you have you drop your belt and then go fight Vergil Ortiz at a weight that's above your weight for nothing?
Because more people will care.
You don't have to drop your belt to go to 154 to fight.
No, but that's what Boston said.
Well, okay, I said drop the belt, but Randy is right. Clearly, because Terrence Crawford is still the unified champ at 147 pounds. So, yes, to Randy's point, you're right, Kim. I did say drop the belt. So maybe not drop the belt, but go up and challenge somebody with a name, challenge somebody that's going to draw the eyeballs. And for him, that is a Vergil Ortiz fight. That's the Ortiz fight brings the most eyeballs to him.
But his
Maybe
name is,
Xander Zayas, but I don't see them putting. Would you guys put Zayas in there with him right now?
No way.
Yeah, right. And there's really nobody else. Yeah, I'm looking at 154 pounds. It's got to be Zayas, man. He's in a real tough position.
man,
He's in a very, very tough position.
His biggest obstacle is consistency. He just got to keep going in the ring. I don't care if it's against bums or whoever. Just keep your name in people's mouths, man. And when you go away, it's like starting your fan base all over again.
Eddie's going to get him fights. I do think that Eddie's going to get him fights. My thing is he going to get him fights that people care about? Obviously, nobody cared about Cody Crowley. It doesn't matter that Cody Crowley poked himself in the eye and got out of the fight, right? That doesn't matter. Cody Crowley, David Avanesyan, nobody would have cared more about Cody Crowley, right? Right now, he needs the eyeballs. He needs people to care about the fact that he's fighting. That's my position.
Yeah, I think the best one probably now is Conor Ben next.
That's another good name. That's a fight
if you put him in the UK, it's gonna be packed.
You goddamn right it is. That's I went Randy on that. And Conor Ben has that relationship with Eddie Hearn. That's a big fight for him. And he stops Conor Ben. Especially if Conor Ben can't use a super soldier serum or whatever the fuck he was. Heart-shaped herb, all that shit. If he can't use that shit, man, yeah, he's getting fucked up. He's getting fucked up.
All right. Well, I think on that note, we'll go ahead and end it. So this is a high intensity in discussion, but there is, a path forward for Boots Ennis, and with the zone, I think that Eddie Hearn is going to try his best to get him those high profile fights. It just I think he's going to have to work with other promotions to be able to do that. But I think that we all agree that he's going to take care of business this weekend against David Avanesyan, and essentially they're looking at him to basically one up Terrence Crawford's performance that he had against David Avanesyan. So Casual Rand, Boston Jared, y'all have any closing arguments before we wrap this up?
I got nothing, man. That's it for me, man.
Like and subscribe.
And subscribe.
With that said, make sure that you like and subscribe. This is your boy, Professor Nimbus, signing out for Boston Jared.
Peace.
The Casual Rand.
Peace.
Coach Dave left a little bit prematurely, but we are the Pundits of Pugilism, and we appreciate y'all rocking with us tonight. Peace out.
Peace.